Hello friends, my name is Natasha Rosiana Silalahi with NPM 202012500026. I'm from class R3D and today I want presentation about analyzing of Shakespeare, Hamlet. I want to tell about describing the world of Shakespeare, Hamlet. The tragedy of Hamlet, Prince of Denmark, is a tragedy written by William Shakespeare sometimes between 1599 and 1061. Set in Denmark, the play depicts Prince Hamlet and his revenge against his uncle, Claudius, who has murdered Hamlet's father in order to seize his throne and marry Hamlet's mother. Hamlet is considered among the most powerful and influential works of seemingly endless retelling and adaptation by others. The stories of Shakespeare's Hamlet was derived from the legend of Hamlet, presented by 13th century Choisner Saxo Grammaticus in his Gesta Danorum, as subsequently retold by the 16th century scholars Franciscus Belleforest. Hamlet devised an elaborate plan to stage a play referencing Claudius murdering King Hamlet. Hamlet's father's his plan is that Claudius will be so disturbed by the play that the audience will be confident of his quiet. The play, the thing wherein I will catch the conscience of the king, while this relatively decent plan to expose Claudius is really just procrastination. Hamlet's action and thought are a logical response to the station in which he finds himself. However, he assumes an antique disposition to uncover the truth of his father's death. In the first act, Hamlet appears to be very straightforward in his action and thought. When questioned by Gertrude about his melancholy, later he makes a clear statement about his touch of mind when he commits himself to revenge. Hamlet is a character who, although his action and emotion maybe are one of an insane person. At the beginning of the book, it is clear that Hamlet decides to fake madness in order for his plan to success, killing Claudius. Next, the dramatic structure of Shakespeare Hamlet is remarkably simple. Wrong occurs and hero seeks revenge to make it right. In the process, everyone is destroyed. Shakespeare develops the plot of his revenge tragedy in classical form. Act is largely exposition in classical form, introducing the main character and the conflict. Acts 2, 3, and 4 contain the rising action of the plot as the conflict develops, largely in Hamlet's mind, and Act 5 contain the climax, a short period of falling action, and the development or conclusion in which Fortinbras takes control of Denmark to bring order to the country once again. The plot of the play is not complex. It progresses in a linear fashion, with all events happening in chronological order. There are a few flashbacks, as when Hamlet recounts the event that happened on the ship sometime after they occurred, but they are easily followed and understood. The play within a play even functions as a flashback as it reveals how Claudius has murdered the late King Hamlet. There are also many foreshadows to indicate that will happen later in the play. For example, the stabbing of Polonius foreshadow the stabbing of Claudius, and the victorious return of Fortinbras foreshadow his accession to Dini's throne. Next is the central character Hamlet and the characterization Hamlet. The central character in the play Hamlet is Hamlet, the Prince of Denmark, the little character, and the protagonist about 30 years old at the start of the play. Hamlet is the son of Queen Gertrude and the late King Hamlet, and the nephew of the present king. Claudius Hamlet is melancholy, bitter, and cynical, full of hatred for his uncle's scheming and disgust for his mother's sexuality. A reflective and truthful young man who has studied at the University of Wittenberg. Hamlet is often in the caves and hesitant, but at other times ponderous and impulsive age. Claudius, the King of Denmark, Hamlet's uncle, and the play antagonist. The villain of the play, Claudius, is calculating, ambitious politician, driven by his sexual appetites and his lust for power. But he occasionally shows signs of guilt, and human feelings seem sincere. Gertrude, Hamlet's mother, recently married to Claudius. Gertrude loved Hamlet deeply, but she is shallow. The Lord Chamberlain of Claudius' court of pompous, confiding old man. Polonius is the father of letters and Opelia. Horatio is Hamlet's close friend who studied with the prince at the university in Wittenberg. Horatio is royal and helpful to Hamlet throughout the play. After Hamlet's death, Horatio remains alive to tell Hamlet's story. Opelia, a beautiful young woman with whom Hamlet has been in love. Opelia is a sweet and iconic young girl who obeys her father and brother. Laertes, Polonius' son, and Opelia brother, a young man who spends much of the play in French. Passionate and quick to action, Fortinbras, the young prince of Norway, whose father, the king, was killed by Hamlet's father, calls upon Hamlet to avenge him, resents and Guildenstern is two slightly bumbling courtiers, former friends of Hamlet. Ostrich, the foolish courtier who summons Hamlet, stand his duel with Laertes, Philomet, and Cornelius Curtius from Claudius sent to Norway to persuade the king to prevent Fortinbras from attacking Marcellus, and Bernardo, the officer who first see the ghost walking the ramparts of Elsineur and who summoned Horatio. Francisco, a soldier and guardman as Elsineur. Rinaldo, Polonius' servant, who is sent to France by Polonius to check up on and spy on Laertes. The language and rhetoric of Hamlet. First is allusion. Act 1, Scene 1, and the moist star upon whose influence Neptune. This is an allusion to Neptune, the Roman god of the sea. Act 2, one sign. My father brother, but no more like my father. This is to Hercules, a Roman mythological hero known for strength. Act 1, Scene 5, Endure should to be down the fat with. 2 is simile. Act 1, Scene 2, Hamlet compares his world to a neglected garden field with rotting meat. He is depressed at the corruption that has overtaken the state of Denmark. Act 1, Scene 2, Hamlet is expressing his dislike and opposition of King Claudius, whom he sees as the antithesis of the King Hamlet. Third is metaphors. Act 3, Scene 4, Hamlet tries to make Gertrude feel guilty, brands his mother marriage with Claudius as fake. 4 is apostrophe. Act 1, Scene 2, lines 1-3-4 until 1-3-4. Oh God, how very stale, flat, and unprofitable seems to me all uses of the world. Hubris, throughout the stern Hamlet portrayed as mad is the free reason who unto death of his father and his instable love for Opelia. However, the source of Hamlet's madness is unknown to most characters. Horatio, in an ironic, gets to Hamlet that what if it tempt you toward the food, my lord? And there assumes some other terrible form, which might deprive you so act of reason and draw you into madness. Comic relief. In Hamlet, the majority of the comic relief is the dark and depressing. The main character is obsessed with death and makes morbid jokes about old age, dyspepsia, and corpse. The side of the characters is shown so that the reader can understand how much this disturbs the prince. The result of this a play with some very depressing scenes. Paradox. Not so, my lord, I am too much in the sun. 1, 2, 6, 7. This is Hamlet response to the king's question. How is it that the clouds still hang on you? He means that the king has called Hamlet son once too often. Symbol begins in the very first scene of the play as the weather represent the events that are about to occur. Bernardo and Francisco stand Hamlet dark clouds, the play in mourning for his dead father and resentment for his too soon married mother and uncle. The new King Claudius, he is always dressed in black throughout the play. The most trap is learns that a troop of players has to visit the place. He is overjoyed, but it's not his love of tenet that fools Hamlet's excitement. It's the opportunity to incriminate the most trap. Foreshadowing. Claudius' death is partly about the ghost. The ghost is recognized by Bernardo as a pretentious figure, and Horatio agrees that it bore some stains eruption. But none of the characters who witness the ghost is openly scan is certain about what its appearance means. And then dramatic irony. Ghost, the serpent that did sting died. That father is alive or no, where's his crown? The fact that Claudius killed the king by pouring poison into his ear while he was asleep was revealed to Hamlet in the very first act of the play. The only ones who initially knows of this are Hamlet knows that Claudius does not know that he knows of the murder. Suspense. Will suspense as the audience anticipates questioning the spectacle like the curious spectacle Horatio, as Bernardo attempts to elaborate on their experience of witnessing. Use of imagery in Hamlet. Hamlet seems curious and questioning the matter of life and death. Shakespeare leaves his audience inquisitive of the many controversial themes exposed in arguably his most dramatic play. Themes of madness is betrayal, to which he used time agreed to paint a picture in the reader's mind as to the deepest sentiments of the characters and their situation. And the last is interpretation of Hamlet. Hamlet showed that he understands real from fake, right from wrong, and his enemies from his friends. Even in his madness, he returns his enemies from, and is clever and his speech and has full understanding of what is going on around him. Most importantly, Hamlet does not think that of a person who is mad. Okay, thank you for attention. I'm Natasha Rosiani Silahi.